Alrighty boys, so the Alpha, Beta, and Gamma, they haven't been seeing so much play, but I gotta show some support for the fans that love this deck because I know a lot of people like some of those decks that are fan oriented, and this is definitely one of them. And we even got it facing off against Toons, and I'll give you guys a deck profile if you guys want to try out the deck yourself after this. But anyways, let's go ahead and watch it in action. Let's see what it does, and then we'll talk a little bit about the deck. But overall, they still have a lot of big beaters in the deck, and that's where sometimes you can beat certain decks, and they still have that ability to make some of your favorite new cards like Dante, and he was able to go ahead and get rid of that back row. Mirror Force activated, but you have the ability to go ahead and then special summon those guys once again. So we got the Alpha, Beta, and Gamma out on the board. I'm going to go ahead and search out some extra cards and then still be able to attack. Now, looks like Pegasus over here not looking too good. Then we have the Gorgonic Guardian and a Soul of Silver Mountain. So this card is pretty good to target a set card in your opponent's spell and trap zone, and then it cannot be activated. Now, there's not too many good cards in Toons, but there is that Toon Briefcase card that can help the deck a little bit. But look at that 4K beater, the Super Conduction Machine Imperium Magnum. So it's got a good effect too. When your opponent activates a spell, trap, or a monster effect, you can negate the activation and then destroy this card. And then if this face-up card you control leaves the board because of an opponent's card effect, you can special summon one Valkyrion and one Berseryon from your hand or deck, ignoring their summoning conditions. So it looks like that they have a little bit of sustain, just like a lot of these other decks have. I want to say that it is definitely outclassed by the ABC deck, but nonetheless, some people don't like, the more meta of decks. They just like to play, fun things. Plus, you have a lot of targets for trade-in. You do have to play the vanillas, but, I mean, you could run Rescue Rabbit, right? I know some people, they just love, like, their old-school cards. Maybe they have that Secret or Rescue Rabbit that they want to put to use. But Honest is there to kind of save the day. But this is still a pretty good card. Let me go over this card's effect, because it's an older card that you guys all that been playing for like a long time might remember it. But anyways, it's Gorgonic Guardian. I talked about this card a while ago, and it was really good when it came out. But it's once per turn during either player's turn, you detach material from this card, target one face-up monster opponent controls, and its attack becomes 0, and its effects are negated. These effects last until the end of this turn. Once per turn, you can target one monster on the field with 0 attack and destroy. So you get to make something have 0 attack and get rid of it. So very good stuff. And it's got an okay amount of attack. 1600 isn't like the greatest, but it still gets the job done against certain decks. But here we have it facing off against Blue Eyes over here with the Sage, opening up with the Sage. It's crazy. You can search off a lot of good cards off the Sage with the Eyes of Blue. You can search, Whitestone. You can search the Baylor. There's just a lot of good targets with that card's searchability. But anyways, we have Alpha Summon, but Alpha is going to have its effect negated, being able to search out, one Magna Warrior monster from your deck. Pretty good stuff. And there's also some other decent cards in this archetype, like Magnet Field if you control level 4 or lower Earth, Rock-type monster, which is pretty much most of the stuff in the deck that isn't a boss monster. You can target one level 4 lower Magnet Warrior monster in graveyard, special summon it, and then you can only use this effect of it once per turn. Once per turn at the end of the damage step when a Earth Rock-type monster you control battles an opponent's monster, but the opponent's monster was not destroyed by the battle, you can bounce it back to the hand. So you can use some of your, smaller monsters to bounce back a bigger thing, and then you can use your Super Conduction Machine Imperium Magnum, and then go in for that direct attack. So the deck does have a little bit of utility there, like I said, against some of the larger stuff. And Wind Blast is still a decent card, especially when you got some of these vanillas that you don't really need. Things like Lightning Vortex, Wind Blast, a lot of these other cards that are a little bit older still see some play. I want to say this is definitely nostalgic for some of the fans, but I know you guys want the deck profile, so I'm going to go ahead and give it to you guys from the original guide that you guys just saw from the replays. So thanks for the replays, and let's go ahead and check out the deck profile, and if you guys have any suggestions, let me know down below, but I wanted to keep it original OG from the original replays that you guys saw. So first off, of course, you have to run the Beta guy, you gotta run the Gamma, you gotta run the Alpha over here. All of the old school fan favorite cards. I remember, like, Beta was actually, like, not that bad. Alpha only has 1400. I don't know how he's the Alpha man with only 1400 attack. But nonetheless, it's all about Beta. Beta's actually the strongest out of all of them, but it's only 1700. But still, back in the day, guys, you have to realize 1700, like Neo the Magic Swordsman, those cards were seeing some play in some of like the older like Game Boy games, like the Eternal Duel of Soul, one of my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh games. But anyways, then we got triple Valkyrion the Magna Warrior. Then we got 3 copies of Berseryon, which is the new card, the Electromagna Warrior. Then we got one Gaia Play, the Earth Giant. Now I don't think we saw this guy in play, but he is technically a trade-in target, plus he has an ability to special summon itself. He's like the Blackluster Soldier. You gotta remove and play 2 rock monsters in your graveyard to actually summon this guy. And then during your standby phase, you remove and play 1 rock monster in your graveyard, or send this card to the graveyard. Half the attack and defense of any monster that battles with this card. So it's got 28. So pretty much most things that attack with this are going to probably lose, unless of course they have some other effect. Then we got 3 copies of the new Alpha, 3 copies of the new Beta, and then we got 2 copies of Giant Sentry of Stone. So this card's effect is if all monsters you control are rock type, you get to just special summon this card. So let's go into some rank 4s if you guys want to change up the extra deck. Add a Castell over here. You can see there's 2 extra slots. Castell would be a really great card. If you want to run like the Utopia, the Lightning, those could also be other good cards. If you want to run more attachments for Utopia to stack on top of things, so your Utopia Lightning gets extra attachments, you can definitely do that as well. But then we have 3 copies of course, Gamma. So it's 3 copies of all the new stuff, and then 1 copy of each of the old school stuff. And then we got 1 King of the Swamp, 2 copies of Polymerization, 3 copies of Trade-In. We got Soul Charge, Upstart, 1 Terraforming, 1 Foolish, 2 Twin Twisters, 2 copies of Magnet Field, 3 copies of Wind Blast, because you kind of want to get rid of some of these cards. A lot of the times in this deck, you'll see like 1 to 2 cards in most duels where you just can't really use them, so using Wind Blast to just discard or using Twin Twisters to discard can definitely be an option for you guys. And then we got Vandy's Emptiness because it's too good not to run, and then we got the Solemn Strike over here. For the extra deck, like I said, there's 2 slots for whatever you guys want to run. I definitely recommend you guys to throw in some other cards, specifically having, well, these are technically level 3, but I still think adding Castell is just too important and a lot of different things, just because, like, I know more than likely you're not going to be summoning these, but sometimes you run into a deck where it's got some card where it's like moves everything to defense mode, I don't know, a Messenger of Peace or something like that, where you just need to get rid of it and like you just ran out of Twin Twisters or you don't draw them fast enough. So I highly recommend you guys to add Castell in here. But anyways, you got 1 Utopia the Lightning, we got Utopia Prime, we got the OG Utopia, then we got number 51, Finish the Hold Amazing, or Finisher, the Strong Arm is what it's called in the TCG. We got number 17. We got Soul of Silver Mountain. We also get Levier, 3 copies of Gorgonic Guardian. This is more than likely what you're going to be making. I actually recommend you guys to also consider running 2 copies of Dante, just because you can get extra cards in the graveyard. And that's actually kind of what you want to do in the deck. For the most part, obviously there are some cards you don't really want to send to the graveyard, but overall you're going to have a better chance to hit a monster, as you're running 22 monsters and then you got 13 spells and then 5 traps. So the chances of milling a monster are going to be much higher than your spell and trap anyways. But that is the deck profile for the Alpha, and there's the build for you guys. But I also want to give a shout out to Go Cubes for sponsoring this video. If you guys want to stay up late, game super late, they're little cubes, they're gummies, and you can keep gaming. They do have caffeine in them, obviously. Go Cubes, they are a chewable coffee. Each pack comes with 4, and there's different flavors in each pack that you guys can try out yourself. If you guys really like the authentic coffee flavors, it's definitely there for you guys. If you're on that late night grind for some Yu-Gi-Oh!, you want to stay up late past your bedtime, they can definitely be used. They're also relatively portable, because, you know, obviously you can just throw them in your pocket, throw them in, you know, your backpack, get ready for school. Maybe you were up too late playing some Yu-Gi mods, but you can definitely stay up late for that. And each pack actually comes with 2 cups of coffee, essentially. That's what it's going to come down to, because each cube is half of a cup of coffee. So if you eat 2 of them, it'll count as a full cup. Maybe you want to share them with your friends at school. But if you guys want to, you guys can use the code down below, and you'll save yourself 10%. So go ahead and check it out if that's something that you're interested in, staying up late on that Yu-Gi-Oh grind. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I'm signing out.